So you guys, one of the traitors that went up in the Capitol on January 6th, like many others, has been convicted. In fact, he's already been convicted. Now all that's left is sentencing. Well, he got a little upset because when he was given pre-sentencing release, he screwed up, and now he got to fight with folks in the courtroom. In fact, he was fighting with officers, U.S. Marshals, and FBI agents, all in the courtroom. So what is it that's got this guy so angry? Let's go. U.S. District Judge Paul Friedman revoked 34-year-old Vitali GossJankowski's pre-sentencing release Monday. It's after federal prosecutors brought intimidating and harassing messages he'd sent to law enforcement to the court's attention. Dumbass. Friedman initially allowed GossJankowski to remain free under supervision until his sentencing date, which hasn't been scheduled. And on Monday, he revoked that release, saying that GossJankowski posted the names, phone numbers, and emails of law enforcement and prosecutors on social media, as well as calling for the employment extermination of the FBI's Washington field office. And they said it was inciting behavior, the type of things he was doing. Here's your boy GossJankowski, putting his face in front of the camera as they're rioting and running up into the Capitol building. So there's him. He's, by the way, GossJankowski's deaf. He was enrolled in DC's Gallaudet University on January 6th of 21, visibly reacted when an ASL interpreter who participated in that hearing via Zoom communicated Friedman's decision as far as keeping his ass in jail. When the hearing ended, GossJankowski began making low moaning sounds. And when a marshal approached him to take him into custody, he then resisted. Other marshals and FBI agents who were in the courtroom rushed to assist, leading to a scuffle in which GossJankowski, whose large frame towered over several of the other officers, dragged multiple men along with him as he tried to reach the courtroom door. I looked at another article. This guy, Vitali, he's 6'3". I don't know how much he weighs, but he doesn't seem to be like huge. But he's 6'3", standard kind of tall. But man, there's no officers that can handle a guy that's 6'3". They talk about his towering, intimidating frame. Bro, I mean, we all played football in high school. Get low and drive. Come on, man. Balance. But still, his outburst and his attempt to run out of the courtroom after they had to tackle him and take him into the custody after he got to threatening folks, it reminded me of somebody, you guys. Someone who inspired him to do the January 6th stuff in the first place. Watch.
To Donald Trump, he took the stand in the courtroom here in New York, got fined $10,000 for violating the judge's gag order in his civil fraud trial.
This happened after Trump in the courthouse hallway called the judge very partisan and said there's a person who's very partisan sitting alongside of him. Trump has attacked the judge's law clerk before and been admonished not to do it again. The defense threw up its hands, asked the judge to end the trial because of Cohen's contradiction. When the judge refused, Trump stormed out of the courtroom, catching everyone, Robin, even his Secret Service detail, by surprise. On the witness stand, Trump insisted he was aiming his remark at Michael Cohen, who spent 2 days on the stand, but the judge did not believe him. I find the witness is not credible, the judge said. I find the witness was referring to my law clerk. The judge fining Trump $10,000 and warning next time it will be worse. The judge saying I am very.
So that's the situation that he's pushed there. It sounds a lot like Donald Trump tried to run out of the court. In fact, he did run out of the courtroom unexpectedly like a little baby. Had to run back in and then give BS excuses as to why he said and did what he did. So this guy, GossJankowski, excuse me, he tried to run out too because he finally had some kind of extra accountability for what he was doing after he was convicted. So some of these things he sent to some of these officers was disgusting. Matter of fact, they showed it. Here's some of these anti-Semitic and racist things that he then sent. McFarland News over on X pointed out that this past weekend, October 14th to 15th, the defendant's harassing conduct escalated and it went to this. You guys know, by the way, I have no idea what an orc is in this situation, so if it's a slur, apologies. So they went through all of his hatred. I'll read it because I have it here, just to show his approach here and what he thinks. I'm not sure what the end game was, but he wrote to one of the folks, "You're a disgusting Jewish, evil, corpulent rabbi who likes getting sexual assaulted by your gay colleague. Another evil Jewish leftist, go get assaulted again by that gay FBI agent of your own associate. You're a person who likes to get assaulted, rabbi to him. He likes to assault so violently and viciously with no hesitation. Where's this getting you, GossJankowski?" He continued on. He went back again, unattractive Jewish, again, orc. "Go F yourself. You're so effing unattractive with a lot of facial scabs. You're worse than a bunch of low-functioning ghetto N-words in the ghetto street." So Jordan, this was his approach after he was convicted of being a violent agitator in person who ran up in the Capitol trying to overturn the election because he's so anti-American. After being convicted of the obvious crimes that he committed, then he decides to go this direction, going and insulting folks and going after them because he thinks maybe the judge will say, "Oh, I didn't see it your way, Mr. Vitali. I'm gonna let you go."
I think the reality still hasn't sunk in for a lot of these people that what they did was a crime and that they are facing real consequences for this, and that they have to abide by this system, however much they might not like it. You're seeing it in certainly many of the rioters' comments, especially and their actions on that day, like live streaming themselves there. They just didn't really think through the consequences. And not this guy specifically, especially for the things he said, but for some of the people, there's an element of like, I wouldn't say sympathy, but I kind of feel bad for some of them because they were just duped by very influential right-wing leaders into doing this. And many of those right-wing leaders who celebrated it and encouraged it, inspired them to take action, aren't facing any consequences. I mean, Trump could, but many of them aren't. They promoted it for weeks. They celebrated it. They got people there, and then they just disappeared. And all of these people who were duped are facing real time. And it's not sympathy, but it's something else. It's just like sad to watch. And this guy is uniquely awful. So zero sympathy there. But for some of them who just were misled and have been fed, years and years of BS on social media and on right-wing news, I don't know. I kind of feel bad for some of them.
And these are folks that have never had to think about consequences for anything they've done. And then when Donald Trump runs along and shows them how much he's skirted any consequences for his actions, they go, "Oh, I'm just like him. I'm going to storm out of this courtroom because this is ridiculous." It's like they've never seen or heard of the actual process when it comes to these things. And he thought he could just walk out. Say you made it out, Vitali, then what? You walk down the street and go, "Got him." What's the thought? Doesn't matter. Actually, one of his attorneys came up with a reason why he did this, as far as the threats and all that stuff. An attorney, Matthew J. Peed, was appointed by Friedman in July to represent him. Peed told Friedman his client was very angry because he believed his rights were violated during his arrest. And he claims he was sexually frisked. And neither Peed nor GossJankowski's former attorney had brought it to the court's attention. His rights, in his view, were extremely violated. So he's upset. This is the best part. Peed, that attorney, described the post as a release of steam brought on by that anger, and said now that Friedman had been made aware, GossJankowski was unlikely to repeat the behavior. He's unlikely to do it. Not that he's not going to do it anymore. He's unlikely to. Too late, bro. But more, Pete also suggested that GossJankowski's phone might have been compromised at the time that the text messages were sent. Although he stopped short of arguing that it was hacked and didn't deny that GossJankowski had made similar posts on Instagram. So what the hell's the point of bringing it up, bro? I mean, he may have been hacked. I'm not going to say he's hacked, but I'm going to say he could have possibly been hacked. Will that help if I say that? Will that help? Oh, no, okay, so he wasn't hacked. That's the process, and that's the thought process going to this.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.